The book of Malachi is like the closing chapter of a long conversation between God and his people, uh, setting the stage for the New Testament. Written around 430 BC, it addresses the spiritual apathy and hypocrisy of the post-exilic community in Judah. Let's journey through it chapter by chapter, drawing out its timeless lessons. The background, Malachi, meaning my messenger, messenger of God, messenger of the Lord. He prophesied during a period of disappointment for the Jews, though they had returned from exile and even rebuilt the temple. The promised prosperity and glory had not fully materialized. As a result, the people grew spiritually lax, questioning God's love and neglecting His commandments. Through Malachi, God speaks directly to His people, challenging their complacency and pointing them to His ultimate plan of redemption. So now, first chapter, God opens the book by declaring His love for Israel, saying, "I have loved you." But the people doubt this love, asking, "How have you loved us?" God responds by reminding them of His covenant and His choice of Jacob over Esau. Then He confronts the priests for offering defiled offerings, giving God their leftovers rather than their best. Now, God's love for us is steadfast, even when we question it. Are we offering Him our best in worship or just what's convenient? Let's examine our hearts and renew our commitment to honor Him fully. Now, second chapter is a rebuke for unfaithfulness. Mainly focus on the unfaithfulness, both in worship and relationships. So the priests warned for failing to teach God's law properly. God also condemns the people for breaking their marriage covenants, saying, I hate divorce. Now, God uh, is reiterating, I hate divorce, and for their general lack of faithfulness. Maybe Israelites are a bit overdoing the divorces. If you see the timeline, um, if you remember it, ninth and 10th chapters of Book of Ezra in the year around in the year 458 BC, Ezra prayed and interceded for the sin of marrying foreign women who forced the men of Israelites into idolatry. Now, Malachi during this period, 430, um, now he had to correct the people of Israel of their sinful nature of leaving their uh, women, their wives. Again, the most important thing is being faithful. Faithfulness really matters to God, whether in worship, communities, or relationships or commitments. You know, are we living with integrity in every area of our life? Let's try to reflect God's faithfulness in our actions. The third chapter, God's justice and the coming messenger. So God promises to send His messenger to prepare the way, a prophecy fulfilled in John the Baptist. He also calls the people to return to Him, particularly in their tithes and offerings. He challenges them to test Him, saying, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. See if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven." 3:10. Finally, he reassures the faithful that he will remember them and spare them when he comes to judge. So God invites us to trust him completely, even with our resources. Are we giving generously and joyfully trusting him to provide? Let's remember that our faithfulness in giving reflects our trust in his provision. We should be cautious the way we spend money, and we should be cautious the way we invest or save money. Sometimes we overspend or oversave. We need grace and wisdom in how we give to God and all the works of God, and at the same time how we spend our money, and also save. There needs to be a very important balance. Okay. Now, switching to the day of the Lord, uh, the book concludes with a prophecy about the day of the Lord in the fourth chapter. It will be a day of judgment for the wicked, but healing and restoration for those who fear God. The chapter ends with a promise that Elijah will come before the day, before that great and dreadful day, pointing to John the Baptist and ultimately to Jesus. So, the promise of God's final victory should inspire us to live faithfully and expectantly. Are we ready for His return? Living as people who honor Him in every area of our lives. So, that's a question for us. Now, key themes from this book of Malachi: God's unchanging love. Despite Israel's doubts, God repeatedly affirms his love and faithfulness. Today we can rest in the truth that his love never fails, even when we falter. The importance of honor in worship. God deserves our best, not leftovers or half-hearted devotion. Are we giving him the honor he deserves? He is due in our time, various resources and energy. Now, third key point is faithfulness in relationships. Just as God values covenant faithfulness in marriage, He calls us to reflect His steadfast love in all our relationships. And then God's justice and judgment. Malachi reminds us that God is just. While His timing may feel slow, His judgments and restoration are for sure. Are we living in light of His justice? And next, a call to generosity. The call to trust God with our resources, challenges us to let go of fear and embrace faith in His provision. And then hope in the coming Messiah. The promise of a messenger points directly to Jesus, the ultimate fulfillment of God's plan for redemption. So, this reminds us to live with hope and expectation, knowing that God's promises always come to pass. So, final thoughts: Malachi's message is as relevant today as it was in ancient Judah. It challenges us to examine our hearts, renew our worship, and live faithfully in every area of our life. As the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi leaves us with a sense of anticipation, pointing us to the arrival of Jesus. It's a powerful reminder that God's love, justice, and faithfulness never change, and He is always calling us to draw closer to Him. Are you ready to respond to His call? The story doesn't end here. It's just the beginning of God's ultimate plan for redemption through Jesus Christ. Let's live with the expectant hope, giving Him honor and our best as we wait for His kingdom and His glorious return. God bless you.